Freelance fiction editor Miranda Darrow here with a review of this month's writing craft book. The Heroine's Journey by Gail Carriger, author of fun steampunk stories, has written a craft book called The Heroine's Journey for writers, readers, and fans of pop culture. I'm all three of those, so clearly I'm the target market for this book. In contrast to the hero's journey, in which the protagonist usually ends up alone and sad, in the heroine's journey, the protagonist seeks community, compromise, and comfort. That's exactly what I need for 2020 when this book was first published, and I read it as soon as it came out, and the appeal has stuck around for the 5 years since. Character gives examples and explanation of the traditional hero's journey so readers can have this structure in mind, and it's useful for the comparison. She lists the hero's journey's beats as the call to adventure, the refusal, aid, withdrawal, aka the quest, abandoning the community, visit the underworld, retrieve the reward, return, recognition, glory, and isolation. She reminds readers that the hero's journey's beats are a repeated pattern of withdrawal and return, and those withdrawals are voluntary. And this victory is found only in isolation, and that asking for help is bad. By contrast, the main beats of the heroine's journey are a descent, which is a loss or separation, a familial network is broken. Pleas are ignored, abdication of power, or an involuntary withdrawal. Family offers aid, but no solution. There's isolation and danger. Then we start the search, which is forced withdrawal, searching for unity. A loss of family is risk, disguise, subversion, appeal to the surrogate family, a visit to the underworld, where friends and family render aid, the ascent, return to reunification, where we negotiate reunification. There's a compromise for the benefit of all. Network is established or reestablished in an altered form. Revenge and glory are irrelevant. Character walks through the beats and the themes of the heroine's journey through three myths, the myths of Demeter, Isis, and Inanna. Through this, she makes distinctions between this type of story and those falling under the hero's journey's story beats. She also traces the beats through current pop culture stories, including Twilight and Harry Potter, but not the 2017 Wonder Woman movie, as that was a hero's journey story, right down to the solo battle with the biggest bad guy and Diana ending up sad and alone. Character lists the themes in the heroine's journey as involuntary action, broken familial network, descent away from civilization and community towards solitary risk, political power, which acts more like a manager delegating to others when able, and acts to save others, not acts for revenge. While the hero seeks objects of power, the heroine's journey launches with the rejection of power. The heroine pursues relationships, networks, and receives aid from others. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Community is built while nurturing relationships, respecting society, and compromising with other people. The heroine seeks to unite what was lost. Success is defined by the connections built, not by revenge or glory in the death of the enemy or a presentation of a boon. And here are a few of my favorite quotes from the heroine's journey. In explaining why she, a successful author of fiction, decided to write a nonfiction book on writing craft, Carriger said, "The last time I officially studied the heroine's journey, I was in school. But here's the thing. The moment I studied it, I noticed how much I was drawn to this narrative. I found something profoundly comforting and reassuring in the connections a heroine makes in her acts of solidarity, in the hope she renders, and in the gathering of information, or occasionally gathering of body parts. I'm looking at you, Isis. I'm not one of those people who thinks in terms of revenge. I don't want to go out and chop off heads. This seems messy and lonely, and it never ends well for either the chopper or the choppee. So clearly the heroine's journey was also for me. I wanted to read and write about family, found or otherwise, and go questing in the company of others. By all means, let's do this thing, but let's do it together. Learning to compromise might seem boring, but frankly, it also seems a darn sight more sensible and mature, and certainly more applicable to my own life." So that's a quote from the heroine's journey. For me and Miranda, this is why this approach appeals to me too. The stories are collaborative, feature teamwork, support, and compromise. Every year, when I post my manuscript wish list for the Rev Pit Online revision contest, I say that I'm not looking for a story where the main character's primary motivation is revenge. And every single year, authors dig into that statement. What about this? What about my revenge story? Wouldn't you want to watch this person get even? And my answer is no, not really. As a person, I do want to see justice, but I don't see that the same as revenge. In 2025, this is even more important to me as a person than it was in 2020 when I first read this book. Retaliation is not the answer in the heroine's journey, and an eye for an eye leaves the entire world blind. Another quote from the book, The Heroine's Journey by Gail Carriger, is about motivation, and the quote is, "The heroine undertakes her journey as a result of a familial network being severed. Her need to mend that breach is what drives her into motion. If you want to set your heroine into motion quickly, take someone she values away from her. Her love, her sister, her friend, her companion, mother, niece, nephew, or if it has to be an object that is taken, not a person, make it an object that has profound familial connection, a diary, a journal, a photo album, a family spell book, a mother's enchanted teacup, and so forth." This quote was part of an intriguing chapter that also explored the heroine's view of isolation, strength, communication, success, power, and one that I wanted to add was asking for directions. The author also explained that main characters of any gender can be the main character of a heroine's journey story, and uses Harry Potter as an example because he needs to pull together a team with Hermione and Ron in order to defeat Quirrell in book 1. The term heroine is intended to be a contrast to hero, but does not have a gender component. One example of a heroine's journey story that I like to use when I've presented on this topic is the movie Guardians of the Galaxy. In the first movie, the group of Guardians were stronger together. They have a hands in a circle moment that Rocket actually mocks for its sentimentality, but they literally do end up holding hands to be strong enough to contain the Infinity Stone at the end of the movie. This was my favorite Marvel movie for its humor, but also because alone they are sad and lonely and somewhat floundering. But once the group gets together, they can accomplish great things and save a world. I've presented on this concept of the heroine's journey before, and I have had comparisons of 2 YA series, Divergent, which has a hero's journey story, and The Hunger Games, which has a heroine's journey story structure. Once you start looking for it, you can find stories falling into these camps and others that don't fall into either, but it's still fun to look for them when you're watching and reading. It's one of my favorite writing craft books, The Heroine's Journey by Gail Carriger, and I recommend you get your hands on it if you're interested in telling a different type of story, one that can involve community, compromise, and a pretty high likelihood of a happy ending. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share, and I post new videos on this channel every week. And so until then, happy writing!